That was such a great presentation from both of you guys, and I'm sure so many people got so much from that. Just even in the chat box, we already have 28 messages. Everyone just kind of feeding back. So I think now I will take it to the question time, and then I'll just ask between Lauren and Danni. So let me go back to the start. So the first person asks, what exactly are Reels?
I guess I'll answer that since I talked a little bit about it. But it's basically like a 15-second, I think they upped it to 30 seconds actually, basically short videos on Instagram that are kind of like TikTok videos. So, but that might not be helpful if you don't know what TikToks are. So basically they're short videos that are kind of quick and fun, usually 15 to 30 seconds long. And they allow you to add music directly in the app. So you have a wide range like music and audio that you can choose from. You can also like do different transitions and add text over it, and all through the Instagram app. It's not always super user friendly. I think they're like a little bit tricky. I actually use an app called InShot to edit my videos. Like outside the app, I find it a lot easier. And they actually, it's a paid app, you have to pay for it, but I don't think it's very expensive if I remember. And it actually has copyright free music as well. So it's really good. I use it for like my longer videos as well. So I usually edit my videos there and then put it into Instagram.
Perfect. Next question is, how do you know when Instagram are going to change their algorithms? Can you tell from your engagement levels?
You don't really know. I feel like usually you start hearing chatter if you're like I'm in an artist group on Facebook, so people usually start talking there like, has anyone seen any changes in engagement and things like that. If you are keeping track of your engagement and you're maybe being consistent and posting similar things and you see a big dip, or you could just Google it, like, has Instagram changed their algorithm? And usually you'll see on like Twitter or online, people are talking about it. It's just something like completely out of your control. You don't know when or what way they're changing it. It seems right now they're just really trying to push like content creators, like people whose full-time job is creating for Instagram, which is hurtful to small businesses and people who use Instagram, but it's not like your full-time job. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how like the shifts and changes ahead. I don't know.
I think also with that, with the algorithm, it's so easy to get caught into constantly being like, oh, the algorithm is why my stuff hasn't been seen. Instagram will favor the content that people are engaging with, but also stuff that you are using new features on their thing. So if Instagram brings out a new feature, say even on stories, they may bring out like when they had like the poll come out. If you're constantly using the new features, they're going to favor people who are using more and more features on their Instagram account and keeping people on that account.
Brilliant. The next question is, can anyone recommend a good how-to source? This person has struggled using Instagram for the first time in terms of functionality.
Like just kind of learning the basic ins and outs of Instagram, I guess.
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. Would you know of one, Danni?
I would probably just say, like, for me, YouTube is like my best friend. So anything that you need to know, you can hop onto YouTube. You can also, I haven't personally used it, but I know a lot of people use, like, say, things like Skillshare for really short courses, and you can get like a 2-week free trial if you just want to quickly jump on there and learn about that. But everything is on the internet that you need to know if you just jump onto YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
And it's just getting used to it, really. You just have to play around with it.
Mm-hmm. Next question. Do you think it's better to have a website than an Etsy account?
I would say, okay, so I have both. I find that it's definitely better for me to have a website. Having a website does come with its costs. So you're having to pay for a domain, you're having to pay for the actual site management per month, perhaps the email accounts that are linked with it. So if you're in a stage that you feel like you are making enough income to cover those costs, then definitely have a website because you own that. That is yours. Etsy, I find I have Etsy purely because if someone is already on the Etsy site and is typing in island art, my stuff may come up on that and they can purchase through it. But my main focus would be a website.
Yeah, like I think Etsy used to be really helpful with finding people as well. Like I started on Etsy and I think like if you were posting to Etsy consistently, like way back in the day, you know, you would show up higher in the search features and like rankings and stuff. But I think Etsy is like so saturated now that it's not really going to be like driving loads of business to your page. So I wouldn't say like Etsy really has like that massive benefit to it. I think having your own site, I think basically anything that you can have complete control over is better. Because again, Etsy could change things. And you just like any, you know, like it's kind of like having the mailing list and Instagram, like the mailing list is better because you have complete control over that. So having like a website, you have complete control over that.
Perfect. Next question is, if I share someone else's post, example, a quote or photo, do I need to ask their permission before doing so? Or is it okay providing you indicate it's not your own work and where you got it from?
I personally think it's okay. I'd say it kind of depends on the context, right? I think if you're sharing it to highlight someone else, I think it's nice to share other people's work in that way and be really clear that it's, you know, their work. I think that if there's any questions around if they would care or any ambiguity, or you're like distorting it or plan on changing it in some way or using it maybe to promote something, then definitely ask. I'm happy for people to share my work if they're tagging me in it and mentioning me in the comments and stuff, but not if it's for something. Like I had someone once take some of my artwork and slap text over it for like a Mother's Day sale or something, but they tagged me. And I messaged them and said that they needed to remove it because they didn't hire me to do that. They didn't pay for the artwork. They didn't pay for the use. And that is a very much like a commercial way to use my artwork. And I need to be paid for that. So that was inappropriate. But had they just shared my artwork and been like, we love this artwork created by Lauren, for me, that's okay. But if you're ever unsure, just ask.
I agree.
Do you have anything on that, Danni?
Mine would be exactly the same. Like as long as you're crediting the person who has created that content, but it depends whether or not it's used for a personal or a commercial reasons. I've had stuff shared as well, which was for commercial reasons without any credit. And I can tell you, it is a really, really horrible feeling that you get when you see your work, especially if it's done in the way that has happened to Lauren, where it's been modified against your own wish. Yeah. So definitely credit them, but if it's something like that, ask for permission first. And it's always really nice as a creative when you get a message and someone says, I really love your work, do you mind if I share it? Because it's also creating a conversation with that person and letting them know that you appreciate what you've done. So
yeah,
perfect. Next question, do you use a tripod or tripod camera holder to record work in progress videos?
I'm sorry. I use so many different weird things. Like sometimes I've like taped my phone to like the ceiling light and everything like that. If you see behind the scenes of like what you actually have to do to be able to get the right shot.
Yeah.
But you can purchase, I got from Amazon, and it's a nice tripod thing with the light. And I have that in my studio and it is fantastic. But sometimes you just got to do what you've got to do. I've had it in the top of my t-shirt sitting there to record it. So I'm sure you're the same.
Oh yeah, completely. I have actually like my light here. I ordered this one from the States not long ago, and it's really cool. So it has like a light and it has like the phone holder built into like the top of it. And you can also change this to do like selfie mode, and it has like different light settings.
Oh, that's really good.
So you can like switch it to like warm and cool and daylight and stuff. And it's like attached to my desk. So it's kind of what I've been using recently, which is really helpful. But before that, I did have like a one I got on Amazon that was like stretchier, and yeah, you just kind of make it work. Anytime doing like photo shoots and stuff, you just kind of, it's like a huge mess, and then it's like clean and cute, just like where you're working. Usually is how it goes.
100%.
Perfect. Next question. Do you follow, recommend any good digital creator Instagram advisors on Instagram?
No.
So what's that, like people who
like talk about, like share advice and stuff, right?
I think so, yeah.
I don't tend to follow that type of thing. I would follow more people who are actually creating stuff and taking inspiration from what they're doing or motivation from what they're doing. But as Lauren said, sometimes the best artists that you enjoy seeing their work, I personally sometimes don't follow because I feel a bit overwhelmed by the amount of work that they've done, and I compare it a lot. So I guess it's just trying to find people who inspire you to the right degree, but don't necessarily make you feel like you haven't done enough work.
I think that's a very, very good point. And I think you both touched on that in your presentations of just like the comparison. And sometimes you think by following the people that you're inspired will give you inspiration, but it also acts actually in a negative way.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, can you recommend a basic how-to guide to how-to guide to cover the technical step-by-step process to do the fantastic things you've talked about on Instagram? I keep struggling with sharing posts.
A step by step, I'm trying to think. There's so many things on like online that you can Google for that type of thing. Of course, we have that all in the presentation of how to do it, but it's, if you're, there's so many different things. I guess it's just picking on what you want to start learning, like whether or not it's posts, reels, IGTV, and maybe just focusing on one section at a time and having a little search, connecting with other people. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me as well, and being able to start there.
I think too, like just thinking of one maybe small way that you can elevate, say like your post, for example, like maybe add fresh flowers, or maybe position, if say it's like artwork, position your art near a window so it's like better lighting, and take maybe a little bit extra time to edit it in Photoshop or Visco or whatever you're using. Just try and think of maybe like small ways that you can elevate. You don't have to like, all of a sudden have this like incredible, amazing Instagram account. Like I'm sure like if you go back through either of our Instagrams, there's like loads of posts that are like, now we would be like, oh, yikes. Like, but at the time it was what I was capable of. It was like where I was at. So I think you have to start where you're at and just think of like little things that you can do to improve. It doesn't have to be explosive.
I'd also add to that, like, that you can get from either Etsy, or there's one called Creative Market, where you can actually download PSDs for, say, artwork. I know you wanted to be able to put your artwork in that PSD so that it looks quite fresh, because let me tell you, trying to take a picture of an artwork that's framed with glass on it is very, very hard to do, especially if you're doing it yourself. So you can have ways of being able to do that digitally and being able to create really nice, crisp, clean mock-ups of your art. The other thing you can do quite cheap is actually contacting content creators, if that's what you wanted to do, and send them a whole lot of different product and getting them to take a whole lot of different photos. It might cost you a small fee, but that's time that you could have put to something else, if that makes sense, and you'll have these beautiful professional photos that you can spot throughout your Instagram.
Perfect. Next question. Could Lauren share the site she got her phone folder from?
Yeah, I actually just looked, I saw that question, so I looked it up because I realized I hadn't said. So the website is called shopcanvas.co. I think if you Google it, it like if you just Google like Canvas Light or something, it's kind of a weird name, because Canvas, obviously, like canvases, it's quite generic. So if you just go directly to their website, it's shopcanvas.co. The duty and stuff is kind of expensive because it's coming from America. They have a version that has like a big heavy base, or they have one that just like clamps to your desk, and obviously like the base is like 5-pound weight. So I didn't get the base because that adds a lot to the cost, but I really like it. I know a lot of other artists who use it as well, and they're nice.
Perfect. Can you talk about hashtags and if they help your posts get seen? It often seems to lead to spam DMs when I try.
Sorry, you can go ahead.
Sorry. I get the same thing with certain hashtags that you use, but I definitely see that there is a value to them to a certain degree. At the very start, when Instagram first launched, it definitely did help in that sort of way of being able to elevate your posts a lot higher. Obviously, as Instagram becomes more saturated, it is harder to be able to stand out on that level, but I do personally use them, but I don't oversaturate it. Maybe just a couple of different hashtags that are relevant to what I'm doing. But I also have a hashtag for my own art. So I'll just have Danni Simpson art, and it's a good way for people, perhaps if they've posted my art on their wall, they can hashtag that and people can see all of the tags that relate to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think like having like a handful, like maybe 10 or even less hashtags that you do with the post and what's relevant, and maybe trying to think of ones that like aren't so generic. So like, like art would be like a huge, but maybe like narrow it down to the watercolors, which would actually still be huge. Sorry, watercolor painting or botanical painting, something like that. I have had people say that they've found me through hashtags. You can also actually, if you go into your insights, see if people it doesn't show you which hashtag, unfortunately, but you can kind of see which posts people have found you from hashtags. So it can kind of give you maybe an idea of like, oh, I posted these hashtags on this post and people found me. These posts, people didn't find me, so it can kind of gauge like what works as well.
And adding to that, I would say for me, I find the most successful hashtags that people have said that they've found me through. Say, for example, if I'm doing a mural in Belfast and I hashtag Belfast, that seems to be a locational thing, seems to be quite effective, or Belfast street artist, because if people are looking for something, it's quite an obvious hashtag to look up and you'll pop up. But also one thing I forgot to mention is add your location at the top. I've found this really, really helpful for people who are looking through locational posts to be able to find certain things. So you can do that when you make the post, you can add the location of wherever you are. And I found that that's helped quite a lot.
Perfect. So this will be the last question. Danni, you've talked about Instagram timing out with permanent posts after posting. Therefore, timing when you post on a day is important. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so the thing about Instagram is obviously initially when Instagram first started, it was in like chronological order. So whenever you posted something, if you posted an hour ago, it would be on that person's feed in that order of whoever their followers have, whoever they follow. Now the algorithm has changed and it's putting posts that you're most likely wanting to engage with at the top. But in saying that, once you've seen that post, it's not going to show that post again. Whereas, say, for example, TikTok is quite odd, where I've posted a video months ago and then all of a sudden it just went viral out of nowhere. And I have no idea. I still can't wrap my head around how that works. Whereas Instagram is less likely for that to happen. So after I find after about 24 hours, I find that the likes get less and less and less, which means that people are seeing it less. I wouldn't so much focus on the time in the day as a huge thing, but I would definitely try and find a window of time that you want to post it within. So I wouldn't be posting at 1 a.m. in the morning, because 4 hours after you've posted that is when people may start waking up. So you want to have that window of time where people are most likely going to be on their phone.
Perfect. So that is all of our questions. And I think we'll just wrap up the session. So thank you so much, Danni and Lauren. Like, that has been so informative. And I think it was done really well of just hearing both of your perspectives on how you've built your business and important things. And there's a lot of overlap, which is really nice as well. And I think it's always really good to hear women building their business and just also like the how-tos, which I think everyone here really enjoys, and it's good to interact with each other. So just thank you so much, and I hope everyone has a great Saturday, and take care.